Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Ned Gannett, I may need your help in a moment. Good evening, everyone. We are going to start our program. So as we all quiet down, I just want to say welcome to everyone here. It's actually very exciting for me. For the first time, I think I recognize the majority of the folks in the room, but for those I don't know, my name is Ben Ryan. I am a champion of Ravenscroft. I'm a Ravenscroft parent. I'm a Ravenscroft parent of an alum, and I also oversee the work in the Institutional Advancement Office. I have two very quick tasks tonight. First, to say thank you, and second, to begin the celebration. So the quick thank yous are to everyone in the Institutional Advancement Office, all of my partners, all of the folks at the school who helped put this event together with special attention to a face and a name you all know, Emma Dement, who is our alumni coordinator, and a name and a face you may not see as much, which is Brittany Gresham, who is the behind-the-scenes champion of all this work. So Brittany, if you're here. I also want to thank all of you for taking the time to come out and celebrate with us tonight. And speaking of celebration, you guys may believe we are here to celebrate some honorees from the alumni group, but in fact, this entire event is a large ruse to celebrate the person I'm going to introduce, President of our Alumni Council and birthday girl, Ann English.
Lower this a little bit. I'm like, all right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's an honor to welcome you to the second annual Alumni Weekend, where we come together to celebrate the incredible accomplishments of our alumni and honor those who have made exceptional contributions to our community. As president of the Alumni Council, it's a privilege to stand before you tonight and recognize the dedication of those who have served their full term on the Alumni Council. A special thank you to Sydney Schwartz, Matt Contando, and Kat Codwalder, who have not only been integral members of the council, but also contributed greatly to the Alumni Strategic Design Steering Committee. We appreciate their insights and commitment. I'm thrilled to announce the next president of the Alumni Council, Janie Smith-Brooks. We look forward to your continued leadership, Janie. A shout out to Ben Ryan and Emma Dement and their guidance with the Alumni Council. As we reflect on those who have made a lasting impact, we also want to remember those who can't be with us this evening but are always in our hearts. For me, Les Clifford, a beloved teacher and mentor, and Jeff Walker, class of 1997, both of whom have touched countless lives and shaped our community in ways that will never be forgotten. They are exemplars of the individual friends and mentors from our Ravenscroft days that each of us choose to hold dear. Tonight we have a wonderful agenda ahead, starting with the Sports Hall of Fame and Fine Arts Hall of Fame inductions, followed by the presentations of the Class of 1862 Award and the Distinguished Alumni Award. Our new head of school, Derek Willard, will wrap up the evening with our closing remarks, so it promises to be a memorable night. Thank you for all being here to celebrate these remarkable individuals, and I hope you enjoy the evening. Kevin Billerman is next.
Thank you. I have the honor of introducing one of my former players who played from 2003 to 2005 as a sophomore, junior, and senior. He was an outstanding player for us
everyone's okay with it, I'm going to use the microphone. I'm not used to yelling like Coach Billerman. All right, so growing up, we had a household of 4 children, and that was a little bit predates technology and social media taking over our lives. So we were often relegated to playing outside in our house. That usually turned into us playing some overly competitive version of a sport. To keep things fair, I always announced that the oldest, myself, and our youngest sister, Erin, would be on a team, and that our brother and our middle sister would be on a team. As you can imagine, my brother would often appeal against the selection process, citing that those teams were perhaps a little bit lopsided. Since we sit here tonight to honor Erin's induction into the Ravenscroft Hall of Fame, it's possible he was onto something. Since our time in the driveway, Erin went on to be a 4-year varsity letter winner and 2-time MVP for the Ravenscroft women's basketball team. She collected both TSAC Player of the Year and All-State honors, scoring more than 1,500 points and securing over 500 rebounds during her time as a Raven. In 2010, Erin was a McDonald's All-American nominee. She was also a 4-year varsity letter winner for the Ravenscroft softball team. From there, Erin went on to earn a scholarship to play Division I basketball at Charleston Southern University. She etched herself in the record books, where she still sits 2nd overall in three-pointers made, 21st overall in career points scored, and 25th overall in career steals. In her 2013-2014 season, she was an all-conference honorable mention. Following her collegiate career, Erin took her skills overseas to play professionally. From 2015 to 2018, she played for the Kraftdorf Knights in Germany and ended her career with a league championship in 2018. Back in her hometown now, Erin's day-to-day is focused on setting today's generation of athletes up for their own future success. Through her business, EBA Athletics, she's able to provide performance training for a wide variety of student athletes, as well as give back to the community that fostered her own love of sport. Please join me in congratulating my first teammate and little sister, Erin Bratcher, on her induction into the Ravenscroft Hall of Fame.
Welcome. Whew. My name is David McChesney. I'm the Director of Fine Arts at Ravenscroft. It is my pleasure this evening, glad to be here to see so many folks, to induct our newest member of the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. I'm so pleased to be here this evening to introduce Billy Howard, class of '73, and to induct him into the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. I was first introduced to the magic of Billy Howard and his work in 2007. He was a visiting artist supported by the Victor E. Bell Endowment Fund for Academics, Arts, and Athletics. We own 2 black and white photos from that visit, and I can tell you that they capture the energy, the emotion, and the impact of the subjects with such clarity that it literally takes your breath away. I'm speaking, of course, of Soccer Boys and the One-Room Schoolhouse, both of which are part of the Hugh Morton Jr. Family Art Collection, a collection completely unique for a school to possess, and one more reason to consider why Ravenscroft as a place for your children. A few thoughts about Billy. from his website. He says, "We love our clients and choose clients that choose to love. We only work with organizations that include protections for the LGBTQ plus community in their hiring policies, as well as protections for people based on race, religion, and ethnicity. Our goal is to provide images that tell the story of organizations and people that add a positive impact to society, whether they be schools, corporations, nonprofits, or individuals. We want to be proud of you, and we want you to be proud of us. It's just that simple." Billy, a 1973 graduate, was part of the first class that graduated from Ravenscroft. He began at Ravenscroft as an 11th grader. Billy shared with me, my senior year, the school had a mini course where they offered a short course in a lot of different subjects, one of which was photography, taught by a classmate's father. He says that his career started with that class. "I developed my first roll of film," he says, "and printed my first photograph, a picture of my nephews that is still hanging in my sister's house." Billy was also on the newspaper and literary magazine staffs and discovered a love of storytelling. Billy credits Ravenscroft for planting the seeds of growth mindset and fostering the desire for lifelong learning. A graduate of the first class with 32 seniors, of which he's known to quip, "I graduated in the top 30 of my class." Thank goodness for those other two guys. Of his exploits on the gridiron, Billy reports that his classmates were able to guess by his stature and speed that he was on the football team. He reports that the bench has never been so warm. Personally, during my tenure on campus, Ravenscroft, there's always been this urban legend circulating regarding a motorcycle and a sprint through the old upper school. Go ahead, laugh, clap, it's good. Finally, the mystery is solved. Billy held the door open on one end of the upper school so that Bill Moore could race his motorcycle through the school. Billy Troxler held the door at the other end, and Ted Salisbury was the lookout. Billy is pretty confident that the statute of limitations has run out on that, which is why he shared that story. As a career, Billy is a commercial and documentary photographer and a writer with an emphasis on health education, social themes. His work has been exhibited internationally, and pieces are in permanent collections of the Library of Congress, the High Museum of Art, the Carter Presidential Center, the Centers for Disease Control, the Centers for Prevention, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the University of Georgia College of Environment and Design, and the Mocha, Georgia, and the most prestigious independent school in the Southeast, Ravenscroft. There you go. His photographs and correspondence and ephemera from his book, Epitaphs for the Living, Words and Images in the Time of AIDS, and the book exhibit, Portrait of Spirit, produced for the first Cultural Paralympics in 1996, with an introduction by the late actor and activist Christopher Reeve, are part of the Billy Howard collection of photographs in the Manuscript Archives and Rare Book Library at Emory University in Atlanta. Billy has authored and co-authored 4 school history books, in addition to producing documentary photographs, books, and photos exhibits on public and global health issues. He has traveled the world photographing and writing about schools for their marketing and fundraising campaign, and he's done that for more than 30 years. Our 150 celebration book, Young Travelers on a Path to Knowledge, was a product of Billy's collaboration with his wife, Laurie Schock. Laurie, in addition to co-writing, designing, and producing the book on Ravenscroft, has produced more than 300 fine art and history books, including Isaac Asimov's Library of the Universe and the legendary golf clubhouses of the U.S. and Great Britain, published for Italian publisher Rizzoli. Her books have won International Book Award, competing against books from Harvard and Princeton presses, among others. If the two of you would come to the dais, that'd be great. Billy, Laurie, would you head this way, please? I'll get it. With this amazing book, they captured the spirit of Ravenscroft as we celebrated our 150 year, and it includes an inspiring set of pictures and texts that represent the best that we are and can be as a community. Again, the best that we are and can be as a community. What a gift of love from our distinguished alum. While taking pictures for this edition over an extended period of time, Laura and Billy kept an eye on the weather and saw that Raleigh had that rare snowstorm coming up, and they drove, got in the car, hopped in it, made it, hightailed it all the way from Atlanta. And they were able to capture some pictures, fresh snow, all in and around. And if you've noticed it in the book, you'll see just beautiful pictures. It makes us think we have snow all the time. Nonetheless, it turns out great. What a dedication to their artistry and craftsmanship. But perhaps the most captivating picture and quote in the book can be found on page 63. Let me hold that up for you. So if you hadn't seen the book, you need to purchase it. Get us to give you one. Let's see here. Where is that? 59, 61. They hid the numbers. Oh, wait. Look, it's me. There's a picture of me playing the trumpet at graduation. It's always been my passion to play the trumpet, and I brought that into the department, and that's the way I've led the department over the past 26 years. We recognize the value of what's going on in fine arts and acknowledge its importance and balance with academics and athletics. They write that I said. And it also says that we worry about a competence and confidence in the arts, which allows our children and graduates to really take something into their lives with them. Oh, it is. Well, basically, I told them if they didn't come up and get a picture of me, that it would there'd be a problem. Actually, I also told him I'd do this award for him if they did it. So, ladies and gentlemen, special guests, it is my pleasure to induct Billy Howard, class of 1973, into the Fine Arts Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doug Britt, Ravenscroft class of 1998, widely regarded, let me finish, widely regarded as the best class in Ravenscroft school history. And it's a true honor to be here tonight to present the award to Jimmy Cox, Coach Cox, for Ravenscroft's class of 1862 award. As the award announcement, I love it. There's going to be a lot of applause during this speech, which is great. So, as the award announcement so eloquently stated, whether you played for Jimmy on the middle school green basketball or varsity golf team, attended day camp, or took part in his signature line dancing PE unit, you undoubtedly experienced the energy, enthusiasm, and dedication that Jimmy brought to every aspect of student life. While at Ravenscroft, I had the good fortune to check every one of those boxes with Coach. Reflecting on his career, I'm struck by his gift for adapting to every student, becoming a mentor to children of every age. For my class, he was with us every step of the way, guiding us from childhood into adulthood. In lower school, he wasn't just Coach Cox. He was Batman. Every Halloween carnival, he squeezed into that thick, black, heavy suit, much to our delight. But even better, he wore it again later in the year for Special Olympics when the heat was absolutely brutal. Just unbelievable how hot that could have been for you, Coach. But you know, all seriousness, that willingness to trade personal comfort for a child's joy is exactly why he deserves this award. His unwavering personal sacrifice to enrich the Ravenscroft community. Many of us spent happy summers at Coach Cox's day camp, carefree days of hiking out to Pew Pond, cannonballs off the old Ravenscroft high dive. Do y'all remember the Ravenscroft high dive? That ladder to the top that was slippery, it was absolutely terrifying. I digress. But also learning about insects from Nature Bob as well at that camp. Only later, as a day camp counselor myself, did I appreciate the full effort Coach put into it. Early mornings before campers arrived and late afternoons after the last kid left. Once again, it's a constant theme with Coach, selfless dedication to this community. As a child, it was hard to fully appreciate that PE, while incredibly fun, needed to be more than endless capture the flag, 3-pin dodgeball, and rolling around in that yellow gym on those square scooters we used as skateboards, even though we were repeatedly told they were not skateboards. Coach brought a structured, thoughtful approach to PE, helping many of us develop the athletic skills that carried us into middle school and upper school sports or beyond, or at least ride the bench on his green team. Let's also not forget, PE wasn't just physical training. It was life training. It was line dancing. Learning how to line dance to Louisiana Saturday Night was a rite of passage at Ravenscroft. Just pause and think about that for a second. What an amazing impact on our school's culture. But Coach's influence, of course, went far beyond line dancing. He was a trusted advisor, a mentor, and a role model. When Coach spoke to us in middle school about how alcohol could derail our athletic potential, that narrative resonated with many of us because he lived it and led by example. In high school, I vividly recall a van ride to a golf match when the teams joking crossed the line. Coach stopped it cold, firm, direct, and principled. That van stayed silent for 10 minutes as we played his words in our heads. 30 years later, I still remember that like yesterday. That's impact. That's the mark of a moral leader who shaped lives and strengthened this community. Coach, over your remarkable 43-year career here at Ravenscroft, you've mentored students from lower school through upper school and into adulthood. You adapted to every generation and remained a steady, supportive presence who made us all better people. We're grateful for your tireless commitment and the lasting impact you've had on the Ravenscroft community. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in celebrating a true mentor, dedicated teacher, an irreplaceable part of the Ravenscroft family. Coach Jimmy Cox, thank you for everything, and congratulations on the Ravenscroft Class of 1862 award.
Hello. My name's Steve Nielsen, and before I begin, Emma, where are you? Raise your hand. Alumni, if you don't know this woman's, if her name and email address isn't in your contacts, you better put it in. This is a woman, she's not going to ask you for money. She's going to ask you to participate and be involved. So please make sure you get her email before we leave tonight. When Ravenscroft honored me with this opportunity, Emma suggested I keep it to 7 minutes. Once the stories began to flow, Emma realized 7 to 10 minutes would be appropriate. I'll try hard to stick to that once I begin my speech. But before I begin my speech, I'd like to express how happy I am to be here to see Billy receive his award. He willingly provided professional advice that helped me grow my veterinary business through surgical images and videos. Billy's connections reach far, and tonight you've learned about the impact his skills have provided. I was surprised when an octogenarian in our 125-member church commented on one of Billy's Facebook posts. I asked how she knew this famous photographer. Her reply, I know many famous photographers from my days at Marietta Daily Journal, but Billy is one of my favorites. When I informed her that of your award, Susan Miles asked me to congratulate you. Emma, I've still not started my speech yet, so hold on. This year's recipient is the third of the class of 76 to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award. Elizabeth Tony Melvin was the 2002 recipient. Several of us gathered last year to see Margaret Mahood Mills receive the award. I've been uplifted each time I've connected with these women over the past years. And James is one of the reasons for that connection. When Margaret retires this year, her connection from Ravenscroft Trailer Park to this magnificent campus will walk out the door. Margaret knows our stories from when we drove ourselves to Ravenscroft. She extended that knowledge when classmates began dropping their children off at Ravenscroft. And it's even further with some of our classmates now dropping off their grandchildren at Ravenscroft. No AI can replace the kind of love, loyalty, dedication, and commitment that she's shown. I wish you the best in your retirement. Margaret, you have been a leader. You've influenced this institution as a student, innovative leader, and historian. Congratulations. Emma, I believe you can start that 15-minute clock for me now, if you would. Today's Ravenscroft Alumni Association presents its highest honor to my classmate and friend, James Sampson. I was honored when Ravenscroft asked me to present this award. I agreed, but I wanted to ensure that mine was not the only voice you heard tonight. Unfortunately, tonight does not provide the time to share the hours of interviews from people willing to stop their busy lives and share stories about James. By the end, you will understand James's impact on my life and on others. You'll understand his impact on Ravenscroft and his life's impact on the world after he left our campus. Emma arranged for tonight's ceremony to be live streamed because James is homebound and cannot be here in person. For the non-baby boomers in the world, or in the audience, I'm sorry, don't be alarmed. You're going to hear about some technology that you've never experienced. You see, we used to have things called 8-tracks, cassettes. We had albums, and we had stereo record players with speakers. Any discussion of James's impact on me and Ravenscroft must include some discussion of race. In doing so, please recognize that I am a 67-year-old white man raised during the Civil Rights Movement, trying to do my best to share my respect for one of the bravest men I've ever known. In 2001, the U.S. emerged from lockdown. We were also recovering from George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others. We were arguing which lives mattered most, black, blue, all. It was then that I was motivated to write James's nomination. Next please. James's impact on Ravenscroft is indelible. Because I was educated by the likes of Don Goodwin, Alice North, and Joe Samruth, I must provide a bit of a historical context about Raleigh, North Carolina in 1972, the year James came to Ravenscroft. WRAL editorial director Jesse Helms had spent years opposing public school integration and had become North Carolina's newly elected U.S. Senator. Private and Christian schools were sprouting up all over North Carolina to avoid integration. James's family had strong ties to a different private school. Like his siblings, he expected to begin his freshman year at Cardinal Gibbons and play football. Luckily for Ravenscroft, Cardinal Gibbons was undergoing renovations and there was no place for James. That year, he began his commute from Rock Quarry Road to that campus in North Raleigh.
Said, what I want you to do is play soccer. Try it for 1 year. And try Ravenscroft for 1 year. And after 1 year, if you don't like it, then we can go back to Cardinal Gibbons. And James said he was hooked after the year. And so I applaud all my classmates that graduated before and after the fact that James decided this was going to be his home for the next few years.
He always represented our school with great class, and one thing you could expect from James is you were always going to get his best. Anytime he crossed the chalk, he was all business, and he was going to bring you the best that he had to offer. The one thing that he could never accept, it was hard for him to accept, was the fact that we had to pick up rocks almost every single day.
His athletic ability, leadership qualities, and respect from his teammates resulted in his captaining the Ravenscroft soccer teams and basketball teams. All-state honors his junior and senior year made James one of the faces of Ravenscroft. I believe his forward-facing athletic success gave other students of color a reason to consider Ravenscroft. As co-captain, James
brief period of time, I just remember such a trajectory straight up of how good he became and how gifted he was at playing and touch and his speed. And Larry Tackus shared with me the other night that he got his name Captain Smooth from his trip to England. I think there was an English guy over there who called him Captain Smooth just because of the way he would glide across the field. Right. So,
and really the name Captain Smooth came from the fact that when he ran, he didn't look like he was working at all.
As co-captain, James was calmness to my explosive and impulsive nature. Only once did he ever lose his cool on the pitch or at school. We were playing away our senior year. Throughout the game, one player continually harassed James with racial taunts. In the second half, the player said something about James's mother that could not be tolerated.
James just turned around and just like Sugar Ray Leonard, quick and popped him, and he fell down. And immediately the ref threw James out and threw the other kid out.
Except for me getting kicked out of a game one time because I was supporting you and the referee said, off, go to the next side of the field. And that was the only time I got kicked out, but it was worth it. So.
Luckily, the player was red carded. Had he not been, I'm confident these teammates that always had James's back would have taken care of business themselves. Red cards for Kay Holloman and Ed Nielsen were further proof that everyone at Ravenscroft had James's back. Recent team... The respect teammates paid James was equaled by non-teammates as well. Character, friendship, and music was a common theme during the 4 hours of video interviews I did.
James.
Congratulations, James, on being named the Outstanding Alumni of the Year. I can't think of anyone I know that deserves this award more than you. You have been an outstanding person your entire life, and you have earned the respect of so many people who know and love you. Congratulations, and remember to keep your head to the sky.
You think about the role models in your life and the people that you look around you and you think, I want to be more like that. That's the kind of person I want to be. I think he's a role model for all of us in how to live with grace and how to live with inner strength and know who you are.
Was an absolute gentleman, no matter where it was. Whether it was off the field, whether it was on the field, he treated everybody with great respect. Easily earned. When we hear about athletes earning the respect of their teammates, that's one guy that earned the respect of everybody he was playing with and everybody in that school.
I know I'm supposed to say a certain memory I have with you, but I can't even remember of one specific one that stands out, except that you came to my party one time, which really just encouraged me, and I'm sure other people came because you came. So I appreciate you.
We even received written things from classmates as well. And all of this will be available for everyone. Next, please. I got to compete against James in college when Howard came to West Virginia. James was unique at Ravenscroft because he was the first black in an all-white student body. What made him unique at Howard was his being the first American to play on an all-black, all-foreign team. Once again, soccer, his character, work ethic, and his basketball skills came through. James' soccer coach at Howard was a Jamaican named Lincoln Phillips. I've heard Lincoln was the only person James would allow to call him Jimmy. In a recent email, here's what Lincoln had to say about Jimmy.
I ended up playing soccer at Carolina, and my head coach was Anson Dorrance, and he recruited James. And he said, James gave him the most brilliant answer, the only answer I could not refute, when he turned me down. He said, Coach, he said, for the last 4 years, I've been separated from my people, and I want to reconnect with them, and that's why I've chosen to go to Howard.
Wow.
And Anson said, what am I supposed to say about that? I could not disagree with him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so that was James's reasoning for going to Howard.
I don't know if it's well known, but he, I think, was the first American black to ever play at Howard University. So that's quite a banner and flag to carry. And James did that with great grace and ability as well.
My friendship with James has resulted in two experiences that one might call road to Damascus moments in life. The first was visiting him at Howard my sophomore year. Walking across the quad, I heard quiet rumblings coming out of the open dorm windows. When I heard, "Honky, your ass is in the wrong end of town," I remembered thinking every high school day for James must have been like this. I was the only one of my race within eyesight. It gave me a glimpse into one aspect of his high school life and realized the bravery and confidence it must have taken to walk through those doors in '72. James served on the Ravenscroft board, and Doreen Kelly says of James' time there, "As a leader, I trusted James's wisdom while his joy and hope were infectious." The Durham Nativity School enrolls males grades 5 through 8 with an emphasis on education and character building. James taught a money management finance workshop for 8th graders, and he volunteered as an academic tutor. He also served on their board. DNS's highest award is named after our classmate and friend. Durham Nativity School is just one example of James's contribution and service to the community. While visiting James, I had the pleasure to meet Jeremy Hoffer, James's co-worker at Self-Help. He paused a work trip to visit his old boss and played the flute. It wasn't until recently that I learned all the lives James's work has touched.
The faith lending sector was something that James really developed. I would say we prior to him coming, we did some faith lending, but while we were working together, we worked on a Baptist church, a Sikh temple, a Buddhist, I guess you would call it temple as well, a Church of God in Christ sanctuary. So all kinds of different faith traditions that Self-Help serves.
James's athletic ability is remembered by his teammates and coaches. His love and encyclopedic knowledge of music is something he shares with everyone.
I had that Volkswagen van, and me and James used to go down there at lunchtime because they had an 8-track player in there. James loved that. He thoroughly loved that. And then he would start bringing some Motown 8-tracks.
Well, see, I didn't realize that he and Cliff Joyner would sit in the car during lunch in high school and listen to music.
It was James, myself, Larry Takis, and Eddie Brandel. And the 4 of us roomed together. And I just remember packing not only our gear, but stereos, speakers, and things like that. And then, of course, you've got James, who was into Motown, Tavares, Graham Central Station. Then you've got Eddie on the end of the spectrum, who was into Led Zeppelin, Allman Brothers, Razzmatazz. And so there was always, a competition with, who got to listen to the music. Sometimes we had to let, Larry and I had to, referee.
So he would recommend certain, flute players, Hubert Laws, and different flute players and songs that I should listen to. So yeah, he definitely expanded my horizons there.
And we compared notes on what concerts we had seen and what were our favorite songs. And of course, we love the same genres. So he always beat me, though, on everything. He knew the producer and the sound mixer and all these different things on every song. But I finally beat him on one that he'd never heard of before, so I got him once.
I was in Poland when Elizabeth texted me about James. When I returned to the U.S., I drove to see James still at the rehabilitation center. His first year of retirement was not going as planned, but his upbeat, positive attitude was inspiring. It was that day that James had a second recent impact on my life. I left realizing so many people that had contributed to my personal and professional life did not know the impact they had on me. James motivated me to begin a gratitude tour thanking those people. In Gatsby, Meyer Wolfsheim says, "Let us show our friendship for a man when he's alive, not after he's dead." In a recent interview about conservatism in America, David Brooks said, "American society has become over-politicized and under-moralized. We care too little about the moral and relational growth." When one hears classmates share stories of James's impact on their high school years, his impact on Ravenscroft's athletic success, board of trustees, social change, and yes, music, his role at Durham Nativity School and self-help, one realizes that James cares greatly about moral and relational growth. From the day I met him until seeing him this morning, James exemplifies Ravenscroft's moral code. He is truly deserving of the 2025 Ravenscroft Distinguished Alumni Award. Since he can't be here, I'd ask anyone who wishes to come forward, stand with me to honor and congratulate him and to thank him for his role in your life. Please join me in honoring our classmate, friend, and the Ravenscroft 2025 Distinguished Alumni, James Sampson. Come on.
All right, folks, we're not quite done. All right, folks, if I could have your attention one more time, we're almost ready to close this out. Almost there, almost there. Folks, my name, if we have not met, my name is Derek Willard, and I have the honor of being the 15th head of school here at Ravenscroft. Before I close this out, I want to make sure we recognize that the 14th head of school at Ravenscroft is here, and that is Doreen Kelly. Let's have a round of applause. It is always wonderful to have you back, Doreen. If we have not had a chance to meet, and that may not happen tonight with this crowd, I know you didn't come for me, you came for each other, and that's wonderful. I would love the chance to meet you at some point. But again, welcome friends, family, faculty, staff, and on behalf of all those constituents, to you alumni, let me say welcome home. I had the privilege of calling each of you who were honored tonight, all 4 alumni, to deliver the news that your alma mater wished to bestow upon you its highest honors. And I had the pleasure of taking Jimmy Cox to breakfast at Big Ed's, our first meeting, and to deliver that news. And those were joyous phone calls, and that was a joyous breakfast. I also had the pleasure, James and June. James, I hope you got to watch all this, you and June, tonight. Thank you for welcoming our team into your home. I had the great pleasure of offering him his award in person. And Steve, you're right. A man like that and a life like that, it is not fair to cram it into 7 minutes or 15, 22, 30. Really remarkable tribute. Thank you. Thank you for pouring your heart into that. James, we wish you could be here in person. We know you can't, but we felt your spirit. Since this is a school event, in closing, there has to be a brief lesson. Alma mater is from Latin, and it means nourishing mother. Awardees, where are our awardees? They're still here. They didn't run out. We hope that each of you as alumni feels that that is what the Ravenscroft community provided to you, nourishment. Nourishment is fuel for growth. And the root of the word alumni, the AL part, means to nourish or to bring up. And it suggests that a school provides that. There are so many in this community who work to feed your individual passions. Jimmy Cox was one of those individuals. And if they didn't do that, they may have hired people who did. Doreen Kelly was one of those individuals. And was, I think, last year's inductee into the class of 1862, correct? Yeah. Congratulations. Welcome. All right. On behalf of the faculty and staff at Ravenscroft, let me say again that we are so proud of what you have accomplished, what you have become, and what you represent. One last round of applause for our awardees, please. Again, thank you for coming. Thanks to our advancement team for this. I've been told to make a few announcements. One, last call is 8:45. Okay. 2, if you are a presenter, awardee, or alumni council, please come down for one more photograph. Thank you all, folks. We appreciate you coming out tonight.